and welcome to episode 1 of the Sunn Brothers podcast, which is called... We never talked about
I was going to say, you didn't tell me.
The Slamajamic Banana Hammock.
That's
Sunbro Sideshow. The Sunbro Sideshow.
Yeah.
Episode 1. Coming at ya. I am host number 1. Kung Fu Master and Warrior of Sunlight Extraordinaire. Slayer of Lions, Windmills, and Buttholes. The Donkey Puncher. The one and only. And of course my co-host, fellow
Ron.
Sunn brother. He is Ron. The one and only. I am Ron.
Yeah, I'm the guy that you love Dark Souls for, that because you introduce him to the game, and then you're like, dude, a chest.
He's your friend. He's your friend that you get hooked and then you totally troll.
Yeah.
You're just like, yeah, bro, you should open that, no problem. Or like, I'm pretty sure I convinced you to go into the dancer boss fight early, and then I just black crystal home.
I was like, dude, what is this thing?
Just like blind.
It's spinning at me.
Oh,
Good
but
times.
welcome. We are very excited to come to you
yeah.
with episode 1 today. And this is just going to be a fun, hopefully, like, bi-weekly thing for us that we get together. We talk about games and the things we love. It's a Dark Souls podcast.
Yeah, FromSoft, Dark Souls.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about other things. We'll get into other stuff, but for the most part, you know what your boys are here for, okay? You know what we do. We're Sunn
Trial
Brothers.
cooperation.
Really, and that's just our goal here. We just want to have fun. We just want to talk to you guys about the stuff that we care about and the stuff that maybe you care about. And that's why you're here. And what you care about is Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Sekiro and Elden Ring, which...
Can't wait, dude. Cannot
Elden Ring.
wait.
Huge confirmed leaks.
Yeah.
In the past. That's the big thing because
Yeah.
I'm a skeptic. I'm a realist. I'm a skeptic. You know me at this point. I'm the last one to believe something when it comes out, but the newest leaks on Elden Ring are completely confirmed. The new trailers that came out and everything.
Yeah.
So if you're about ready, I would love to start really getting into Elden Ring, since we already kind of segued into it. I think it is an appropriate time.
I was going to say, we'll talk more about it, but now's a perfect time. So, the leak trailers, absolutely real, based on everything that we've heard.
Yeah, I mean, multiple, like, reliable websites have confirmed them at this point.
And we can pull it up and watch it, but one thing I want you to keep in mind, so...
I would like to watch the original trailer first if we can.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just I want to go through everything Elden Ring that we've got at this point. Yeah. And I want to start with what's as solid as possible.
So I'm going to pull that up right here. Everything should be good to go. But yeah, let's watch this bad boy. I'm just beyond, dude. Like,
Yeah. One, I mean, we've been stoked from the beginning. All we needed to hear was, well, a couple things. George R.R. Martin writing the mythos.
I couldn't care less.
I'm not huge into Game of Thrones or anything, but I know the dude's like world building. His base world building is reliable.
Yeah.
And the fact that
what the frick is that, dude? Behind, like, is that one arm all the way from?
It looks like multiple arms. It looks like they're all connected to him, and they've identified this guy as some sort of. What, like blacksmith deity or something like that?
Has to be. He's
which
forming the Elden Ring.
Yeah, okay.
We can talk more about the leaks and everything.
We will.
You can see a lot of it in this trailer. What's been talked about,
and yeah, the rumors.
Speculation and
the rumors, and I know we had talked about this the other day. I wasn't sure that they had been confirmed that it had Norse influences, like heavy Norse influences. But it seems reliable. I mean, it seems very believable with the kind of stuff that we're seeing, and it's also not unheard of for FromSoft in any way. I mean, look at Gwyn and Guinevere, like all that kind of stuff is drawn from like Celtic Gaelic mythology for the most part. If I'm not mistaken.
You see how this girl's back just cracks every time. I guess that's a girl. Well, I don't know.
No, that's a dude.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a dude. But his
There
back
was a lady a second ago,
just
I think.
absolutely shreds itself open.
And I
want to
see what her feet look like.
Which almost makes you think that it's not like a human, the way that like.
Well, and look at the environment too
cracks.
that he was working in. It was almost like a void of some sort, and the multiple arms connected to him. I'm sure there is probably some kind of like correlation between that and some kind of like Celtic Norse mythology, or something like that.
Vati.
You can go. Oh man, if only.
Yeah. Let's just watch Vati.
You can go ahead and
From some
get
toys,
our
you get
capture off of there.
Yeah. So Bandai Namco, and you see it says available. Coming to PS4, PC, Xbox, and so this game is developed for last gen, but for you and me, that's current gen because we can't get a PS5 yet.
No, yeah, because I'm not about to pay a scalper.
Right.
I'm not an ignorant human being.
So
sorry.
I don't think everybody would disagree with that. And some people, if you pay from a scalper, well, it's just because you had to play Demon Souls, and I really want to play too.
I really want to play Demon Souls too,
but so yeah, being developed throughout this last generation
and
PS4 and all that.
If I remember correctly, Elden Ring has actually been in development since they finished Dark Souls 3. Is that right?
I heard that a long time ago, they did. And then they had Sekiro 2 coming out, but I think that was probably... Well, dude, to be totally honest with you, I don't know for sure.
I want to say that's what I heard, and then Sekiro came out, and that's why they didn't do any DLC or anything for Sekiro, is because they were so busy with trying to make Elden Ring happen, because they knew it was an ambitious undertaking. Which we'll talk more about this later as well in the Phil Spencer comments that he gave. Yeah. He mentioned that it was by far FromSoft's most ambitious project yet. And from what I understand, he's an avid player, a genuine fan of the series, of the franchise.
Yeah.
Seems like a reliable source. Like the highest up guy at Xbox would probably be pretty reliable if he says something like that, which he also commented on the fact that it was in the polishing phase. The majority of the work was done. It's just a lot of tweaking and changes and stuff like that. But and you know what? We haven't heard a lot. The only stuff we have heard is the leak trailers, which we'll get to in a second. That's like the only new news that's come out about it in a while, other than the fact that, was it Bandai Namco put out a comment the other day, or was it there's an Xbox event coming up.
Yeah, they confirmed.
And somebody said, it's not gonna be here. Stop
which
talking
we appreciate,
about it.
Honestly.
I do. I would rather them keep it quiet and not overhype it, because FromSoft is not Bethesda or CD Projekt Red or somebody like that who wants to overhype a game to the point where the fans force them to put out a total crap product.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Until they prove us otherwise.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, it can happen to everybody eventually, but I think as long as Miyazaki is in charge of it all, I don't think we have to worry about that.
Yeah.
I think he's very grounded in what he has set out to do. I mean, the dude basically made Demon Souls happen by himself. Man, where would we be without that? Without that drive and motivation, it's like the one guy in Spider-Man 2 deciding to make the web actually attach to buildings and stuff. He's like, I'm gonna do that shit. Nobody else is gonna help me with it. I'm gonna do it, And that was the best part of that game, was the fact that web actually attached to the buildings and stuff. And that's what Miyazaki has done with all of his games, has been like, I'm gonna make this happen the way that I want it to happen. And
yeah, he said
it's
that
worked
Bloodborne
beautifully.
Is one of his favorites that he's worked on, because he felt like he did it his way. And to be totally honest, Bloodborne is probably my favorit from.
I can't wait to get into some Bloodborne stuff with you later. Yeah. Oh man, that's gonna be good. But back to Elden Ring, because I don't want to get sidetracked too hard, because I will go off on a tangent about Bloodborne if you let me. There's no question about that, because the more I got into the lore, the more I dig into the lore, it's just never ending, dude. It's a never ending rabbit hole, because you're like, okay, well, Bloodborne doesn't exactly tell me a whole lot. Like Dark Souls 3, any of the Dark Souls games, you've got endless item descriptions that are giving you information, telling you about the story or whatever. Bloodborne doesn't have a lot of that. It's very limited weapons, very limited armor sets. You find little notes around and whatnot, and there's dialogue, there's a few item descriptions, and so everything there is super important. And then you start drawing on like Lovecraftian influences more and more, and it just gets so out of hand.
So can we go ahead and talk about Bloodborne then? Because,
no.
Okay, because you are.
I know.
Still.
I know. It was wrapping back around. You just didn't give me time enough. I build tents. When I speak. It doesn't look like anything until the whole thing is done, and then it's a tent.
Gotcha.
But until then, it's just a bunch of sticks going through a thing. You know? But, no, Elden Ring, let's get to the leaked trailers, because I have only seen like 1 or 2 of these. You sent me the link to this one the other day, and I wanted to save it. I wanted this to be genuine.
Yeah, these can be found in a number of places on YouTube, but I'm gonna play it from Elden Ring news.
Okay.
Because this guy Mordecai, every day, whether there's news or not.
Oh, I know, dude. He's on there talking every single day.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So shout out to you, Mordecai. You rock,
for real. The videos are, if you haven't seen them already, the trailers are super, super fuzzy, and I know that was a lot of people's reason for kind of skepticism.
Yeah, it's a cell phone video of TV.
Yeah, and I'm like, I get it also, because like, I don't know, wherever these trailers were initially taken from and leaked from, if these were, because they're described as what, internal videos. Basically, they were showing them to shareholders, trying to get people to invest in the future of the Elden Ring franchise. And so who knows what these videos were recorded on in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, it might have been like, because I guarantee you there was a no cell phone, no recording policy at this event. Right. And somebody probably had to sneak in like a spy camera and a pen, or like their glasses, or they might have had a no phone policy or something. Yeah. You know, like everybody had to put their phones in a basket, because like, shoot, even like Dave Chappelle has done that before comedy specials, where he made everybody put their phone in a basket before they went in. So that way nobody could record anything.
Somebody
it was probably recorded on something that this person was like, well, I got this thing off of whatever website. Like,
you can tell. I mean, they didn't have a great opportunity to film this thing.
But it was something.
Kind of like down low.
It's something.
You know?
I don't care. I don't care about the quality. It's been confirmed as legitimate at this point. I don't care how fuzzy it looks.
Yeah. And you may already know, but
I already like Dark Souls and Bloodborne lore. I don't care how fuzzy something is. I just want to look at it. Gentlemen, take note.
All right, let's start these videos, guys. Look at these guys, dude. Pulling those chariots.
Giants pulling them around.
You got this giant burning head, large tree in the background. And then you've got this, like...
Yeah, and I've heard mention of, like, a lot of the weapons, a lot of the armor and stuff like that. You know, people are hung up on how it looks, and it's like, well, a lot of this is reused assets from previous games, from what we understand, too. And this is by no means like a finished product, or even a semi-finished product, what we're seeing. But we see a very
that like homing soul mass
thing going on right there. Yeah.
And okay, when he pierces this guy, just the boss's reaction, dude, I love to see that.
That stagger.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
You've seen that so many times
they described
before.
it. Yeah, they described it initially as the spiritual successor to Dark Souls.
And we kind of skipped right over the horseback play there.
Yes. Which didn't look bad.
He just ran by, sliced the homeboy.
That's one thing that I definitely am interested to see how.
I would rather it be not
handle.
So involved, honestly. The horseback, because
I think good horseback combat is very heavily reliant on horse AI. And some games do it well, some games do not.
Yeah, like Breath of the Wild, you can still shoot people off of the side.
Breath of the Wild did it well. Shadow of the Colossus did it very well, where if you whipped your bow out, you could just...
haven't seen this part, have you?
No, this is all new to me.
I'm gonna back it up. Look at this jump animation from one wall to the other.
It looked very Dark Souls-y. And from, I know, one of the other leaks that came out, they had mentioned that there will be a jump mechanic. It's not like a Sekiro jump mechanic. It's just more of a Dark Souls, like spanning small gaps.
Yeah,
and small
Dark Souls, it's more
ledges.
of like a leap forward. This one looks almost more like a jump up and over. And then here's a clips where you haven't seen more scenery.
And I know, I mean, we've seen like sneaking and stuff in these trailers.
Can you wait? Oh my gosh.
So it seems like there might be some kind of stealth effect.
See that?
So there's a small upward. It's almost like a Dark Souls 2 jump.
Yeah.
Because Dark Souls 2, man, you were like Olympic long jump material.
Yeah, it's like, so with the stealth mechanic, it's almost like they gave us a Sekiro crouch button.
Yeah, well, and they had talked about that in Dark Souls 3 initially, and if you
didn't make it in.
Yeah, it didn't make it in, but like people like Lance McDonald, the people renowned for digging into FromSoft games more than anybody.
Found it in there.
Yeah, he is, I think, rediscovered files for like a crouch mechanic, a stealth mechanic in Dark Souls 3. I'm pretty sure he was one of the originals to discover the bonfire creation mechanic and stuff like that. If you've not ever checked out Lance McDonald, look at his stuff.
Fun.
There's so much cool stuff on that dude's channel. Guy has gotten into files that I don't even know how. I mean, this guy's gotten into Bloodborne stuff that isn't even on PC.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I've just been doing all this stuff in this game.
Reverse engineered Dark Souls 3 in order to create a 60 frames per second patch for Bloodborne on the PS4.
Yeah. And dude has restored the alpha version of Bloodborne on his PS4.
What I would like to know is, so he said that if FromSoft, and he may have already, and if he didn't, just bash me in the comments for it, but he said that if FromSoft didn't release a 60 frames patch on the PS5 or whatever upcoming, then he would release his patch. I'm guessing he probably already has, because that was a while ago, and I haven't seen anything. And
I would assume he probably has. I know if you go on to the Nexus Mods website.
Talking about Bloodborne again.
If you go onto the Nexus Mods site, there's actually a handful of Bloodborne mods on there as well.
Gotcha.
I don't know what they are. I haven't clicked into it, but I bet it's boss versus boss mods if I know anything. And I bet there's a 60 FPS patch.
Something we need to try.
Now, if only it can make it handle more than 6 enemies on the screen at one time.
Something we should try is I think it's called like the Hunter's Combat mod or something on Dark Souls 3.
Oh, where it puts in like trick weapons and your dashes are more like Bloodborne dashes.
You can get the HUD from Bloodborne in there. And dude, that would be freaking awesome.
Oh, it would be so awesome.
You want to keep on with this?
Let's watch more.
So
of the
this
trailer.
is basically like it's been split into 4 clips. You've basically seen 1 through 3. This would be just.
I saw 1 and 2. So this is completely new to me. That jump was new to me. This scene is new to me.
Confidential BNEE internal use, and I can kind of go into that with you if you'd like me to.
I know I watched a little bit on it. Okay, yeah, and we've already really heavily gone into what we can glean from those trailers as far as the successive nature of it in regards to Dark Souls. A lot of similar animations that I saw, a lot of similar mechanics. Which the same thing goes for jumping from Demon Souls to Dark Souls. Very similar, like magic effects and stuff like that. And so, obviously, I'm happy to see that because all I want in the world is another Dark Souls game.
To me, bottom line, it looks like it's going to be more Dark Souls with maybe. So, like, if somebody were to ask me, like, what's Bloodborne? I'd be like, well, Bloodborne is Dark Souls, but this, and then it's like
Bloodborne is like Dark Souls on speed.
Yeah, it's like Bloodborne is Dark Souls with guns or with
it's on speed
rally.
in space.
And then, you know, if somebody were to ask me, like, what's Sekiro? I don't think it really falls into that same category. I wouldn't personally
Sekiro
say
is not
that.
a Souls-like. It's
There's a
not
lot of
an RPG.
combat, like the lock-on and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's just, but it's hard, and that's why people call it a Souls-like.
I would say that based on what this trailer has shown me, that is the way it's going, though. What is Elden Ring? Elden Ring is Dark Souls, but it has this and this and this and this, which sounds
Dark Souls Plus.
Exactly like what I want. Like, I could not ask for more. That would be awesome.
Agreed.
So a couple of things, and I don't know if in like post editing you can get these up on the screen for us with screenshots and stuff, but regarding this trailer here, what you're seeing, and like you were talking about earlier, the assets and like the graphical fidelity, that sort of thing. Apparently, this trailer is a year old.
Right.
It is from something that they did.
And one of the trailers had like leaked previously or something.
Yeah.
But
Jeff Grubb says, I believe this trailer is from last year. I've seen 110 seconds of it. Although I think that is I think less than that is starting to spread. Looks like a From game though. Well, yes, it certainly does. So when you're actually looking at the I wish I could bring it back up and get it up here real quick. But when you're watching the video and you see some of this stuff in here, which I don't know if you can see it real well because it's so blurry, but there are higher res pictures. Basically confidential. It says BN and then it says Hellas. Bandai Namco Hellas is Bandai Namco Hellas sole shareholder Co. Ltd. So basically it's Bandai Namco.
Right.
That Hellas is right in there with them. And then what else did we find here?
Bandai Namco Entertainment
so
Extended or
another
something.
thing too, like before this, we're thinking, even before this came out, according to who was it? Jeff Grubb on his podcast was saying that we should expect seeing something about Elden Ring in the month of March, or at least before E3, which obviously E3's not a thing, but that time of the year. And then this came out all of a sudden. This isn't what he was talking about, obviously, but I don't think it's necessarily meaning that we will for sure. It's the gaming industry, as they say in that podcast.
I know one of the problems that Elden Ring has had is the same problem that like everything has had recently, with so many distancing restrictions on people in their offices. Everything has been delayed. Everything's been pushed back because you can't get right in with each other and work on stuff the way that you need to. And I'm more than happy to be forgiving.
Yeah, take your time.
You know,
take your time.
I want you to put out a good finished game, please.
This held us over. You know,
we're
all going.
Dude, I just wanted something. I just wanted something.
I know that you didn't choose.
I'm like scratching it. I'm like, how did all the skin get on my arm, man? Like, I need some Elden Ring, man.
So it was kind of crossed my mind. I thought that maybe, hey, if this leaks out. Obviously, Bandai Namco knows. Obviously, From Software knows that this is leaked out here. Is that going to give them a push to actually give us something better to look at here really soon?
It might.
But when Bloodborne was in development, they had a video leak like this, leak out early. And people were like, oh, shoot, like they're going to come out with something. They've got to basically rebuttal this like crappy film video, you know, and let us see what they're actually working on. But they didn't release anything for 2 months.
Crickets.
Yeah.
Line.
They held their ground. They're just like, dude.
And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that, dude.
We may or we may not. That is kind of where we stand.
Yeah. They might kind of take it as like, well, you guys got something.
Yeah.
We'll let it go, you know.
Yeah, and I think we're all very, very satisfied with what we've seen.
Oh, I'm happy. Like, even with the just 2 trailers that I had seen previously, and then seeing the parts 3 and 4 of this fuzzy nonsense, I'm cool, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm cool.
It's gonna be awesome.
I'm happy. I'm excited. Elden Ring is gonna be sweet.
So with also they confirmed, like we talked about, it's not gonna be at the Xbox event.
Right.
But Bandai Namco has a parent company. And they have a Japan showing. I'm trying to think what the name of it is.
Kadokawa?
Yeah, Kadokawa. Yeah. Game Live Japan. That's coming up.
Yeah.
So it could be there, but then I think earlier today they released their lineup, it's not in there.
Right.
So that's not happening either. You know, Bandai Namco may just very well do their own. You know, they can. They don't have to have a stage or anything.
Yep.
Release a video and look how hyped. You didn't release
and
this
somebody,
one.
I don't remember where I saw this. It might have been in Elden Ring news, actually. Bandai Namco had actually trademarked the name. It was like Bandai Namco Next.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's speculation, and that's all it is speculation at this point.
Yeah.
Speculation that Bandai Namco might be holding their own like press event.
They've got a lot of games they can show other than FromSoft too.
Absolutely.
So they may do that, and it may not be there, but yeah. Anyways, I'm pumped for it.
Fingers crossed!
More Dark Souls.
Let's talk about the mechanics that were mentioned in some of the original, like, 4chan leaks, less reputable 4chan leaks. And a lot of them were revolving around what was shown in the original trailer.
Yeah.
Which, from what I remember, a lot of it is, like, the burn mechanics and stuff like that, which I don't necessarily know how I feel about that at this point being like a legitimate thing, but as far as
what do you mean burn mechanics?
Somebody had mentioned like your arms get more and more burned or something as you use them, and your original arms, your natural arms, without attaching these other arms to yourself, are like highly burned and not as effective. What we do know, and what was this the Jeff Grubb podcast that mentioned like that arms will be treated more or less as souls. I
haven't heard that, but I think you told me that. That's where I've heard that.
I swear that was in a photo that you sent me of like a Reddit leak or something like that.
I don't know. I mean,
but it seemed like you will collect the arms of your enemies out in the field, and they'll be treated like as souls,
like a currency,
and bosses will drop special arms for you that you can take back somewhere and use them to. It's almost like soul transposition in Dark Souls games, where you take these souls and you make them into a boss item or something.
I mean, other than rumors and leaks and that sort of thing.
That's all we have at this point.
The only reason I think that anybody at all surrounding Elden Ring is talking about arms is because of that trailer they released.
Yeah,
there's two scenes that makes you think,
the blacksmith having a whole bunch of arms is number one.
And they put one person's arm into another arm and it like wakes to life.
Right.
And then the other one is it's like a Valkyrie or something. The dude with all the armor, he's putting his arm
the long
on.
Red plume.
Inside of the socket is literally, it's almost like you would picture it like just a metal socket and then like a magnetic arm that like, you know, he's just sticking onto it.
Yeah, and it's almost like him placing like a prosthetic over his like destroyed, burned limb, because you can see the other arm that's putting it on does look like it's covered in like burns or sores or something.
Do you think that people just like watch these videos and they're like at their keyboards, you know? Like,
well, let's not ignore the fact that these leaks were originally on 4chan.
That's legit, bro.
Yes, that is exactly what people on 4chan sometimes do. It's just like, look at something and be like, how can I mess with somebody about this thing? Like,
are they done messing with Shia LaBeouf yet?
I hope they never are.
I hope not either. That cracks me up. That's good fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Please, if he's holding another streaming event, find out where it is.
Dude, that
but
me up.
I'm definitely excited about seeing it being very Dark Soulsy. I think we can both agree with that.
Oh man.
How I feel about these myths of like the burn mechanics and stuff like that, I don't know. I can give or take. I would just have to see how FromSoft handles it. But
in those same links, it said open world, and I think actually
it said open world, and he did clarify. That's been clarified a whole bunch of times.
So that don't count.
That it's open world. No, 4chan, you're just stealing other people's information.
You're stealing other people's.
Stealing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the open world, we know that's true at this point. Yeah. Norse mythology influences, that seems pretty likely at this point.
Yeah.
We know there's not going to be any towns or villages or anything like that. It's just going to be more like encountering NPCs in the world who will offer you subtle hints to a quest.
Why do we know there's not going to be any towns or villages?
I feel like that was something that, Miyazaki alluded to early on. was that it wouldn't be your traditional open world with like town and village hubs and stuff like that.
Well, okay, so this is what I'm picturing. Like you see old boy running through running, through the field or whatever next to some house or something. It looks like, or is that a cliff or a house in that trailer? But he's running through and he's slashing old boy with his sword. But I picture like if you're doing that sort of thing. Oh yeah, it's next to. Oh no, those are those chariots. So he's actually that battle with those dudes, if you fight those guys, and I hope we do.
Which makes sense that you would have to be on horseback to fight the giant pulled chariots.
Yeah. But I picture like, all right, let's say you finish them off and you just keep riding off. There might be, like a little hut here or there. Little hut with some like some hollows
like a
in there
cave.
slashing at you all crazy.
There will be
like
random NPCs more or less that you encounter throughout the world in various places that will give you small quests and stuff like that.
Just no like Terrytown from Breath of the
Right.
Wild.
It's gonna be like you played very little of Witcher 3. You played very little of Horizon Zero Dawn. You haven't played Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
All three of those games are awesome.
I loved Horizon Zero Dawn, but at a certain point, I just wished it was Breath of the Wild night, and I started playing that again. But anyways, yeah, it was cool.
But in all those games,
great.
like you have these areas when you pull up your map. When you look at your map, there's like these. Yeah, you have your hubs, you have your main villages and towns, all that sort of thing. But you also have these like random encounters across the map. You have these little question marks, these little symbols of whatever kind. I picture it being like
map?
No, I'm just saying that your encounters will be more like that.
But do
where
you
this
think
question
there will
mark?
be a map?
No, I don't.
I don't either.
FromSoft doesn't do maps. Sekiro was just like, here's a map. Just kidding. It shows you nothing. Nothing.
Enjoy.
Fantastic. But bottom line, I guess, is I am super excited for Elden Ring. No matter what it comes to us as, no matter what it presents us with, I have faith in FromSoft as a developer.
Oh, I have another question for you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And so far...
Unforgivable!
As it started development on the PS4, do you think that they're going to release both versions? Also, I don't think it's going to release in 2021. I think it's going to release in 2022. With that in mind.
Yeah, it's not impossible, but I'm not holding my breath on a 2021 release.
Will they do a PS4 and PS5?
It's hard to say. I think they almost have to, because
it's almost like they have
a lot of places have been like reserving pre-orders and stuff with it too, and the dates that are in place for that, like the 2021 dates, it's like December 31st, 2021. They're just placeholders. They shouldn't be taken seriously.
You're like beating on GameStop's door on that day.
Yeah.
Like,
so their only other option at that point would be to refund them.
It'd be like
which they don't want to do. GameStop just became a Fortune 500 company. They really don't want to go back into their same old ways of really pissing off their customers. I don't feel like.
No kidding.
So,
do you remember when everybody was calling GameStop and asking for Battletoads? Just driving them nuts. We should basically do that. Let's start it back.
Let's start it back. Let's call up GameStop and ask them for Battletoads. Call your local GameStop and ask them
for Elden Ring.
Yeah, be like, when's that Elden Ring release date, bro?
So, like...
I heard you guys had that for December 31st, 2021, bro. What do I gotta do for that?
Why does it say December 31st? That's like when people call me at work and they say stuff like that. I'm just like...
they're gonna be like Eric Andre at those GameStop doors. Just like, let me in! Let me in!
Alright, so you heard it here first. Everybody's gonna be calling up GameStop.
Ask them for Elden Ring.
For that December 31st,
December
2021 release date. And then they better have it. This is on you now, GameStop. This is on you.
What are you gonna do?
You better deliver.
We presented the challenge. How do you respond?
With Jolly co-op, all right.
Jolly co-op. Which, hey, that's another thing. It has been at least mentioned, not necessarily confirmed. It was another leak, but mentioned that there will be co-op or PvP, at least inside these quote-unquote kingdoms. There's like an open world field, and that's where you'll encounter a lot of NPCs and stuff like that. And then as you get into these kingdoms, which will have mini bosses and then their eventual bosses, there will be PvP in those areas.
Yeah, they hopefully at this point knew that PvP was
Get
is a staple in the series.
It's what people want.
Yeah, it definitely
like people love invasions. Everybody bitches about invasions, but we love invasions.
You
dude.
learn to love them. You know, like it's such a hassle. Whenever you're like you
just want to do something,
the game,
and you're like
barely
just trying, just struggling to progress through a new area, and then here comes Get Good or Huge Ass, you know, like to come just completely screw your day up.
Yeah,
man.
dude, they just wreck you, and you're just like, oh my god.
Like I've never even played this game before.
Yeah, it's a staple though, because after
it's a part of it, man.
You get invaded at a certain point, and depending on I guess what kind of playthrough you're doing, but most of mine at this point, I'm just like, oh shoot, yeah, I got invaded.
Here we go.
Like yeah, I get pumped.
It's not that struggle to find the next bonfire or anything anymore.
It's such a cool element to the game, because otherwise it's like, this guy's gonna jump around the next corner on the left.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna run up and hit
exactly.
this guy 4 times. Some dude jumps in, and you're just like, does he have a good connection, or is he gonna be warping around the map?
Right. And you gotta feel him out first. Which I will say, like, as many things as people could justifiably complain about with Dark Souls 2. Invader AI like invaders were phenomenal.
They gesture at you and stuff in Dark Souls.
They gesture at you, and they would play.
Like, what is this
they would play in ways that like they would predict
man.
what you were gonna do, and it was so infuriating, but it was awesome. Like, complain about Dark Souls 2 all you want, and I will agree with you on most of it.
Is there anything in Dark Souls 2 that you'd like to see reborn in Elden Ring? Honestly, for me, the expansive
power stancing is the best thing to come out of Dark Souls 2 by far.
The miracles and sorceries and hexes and that sort of thing.
Hexes were definitely
just like an abundance.
Hexes were definitely yes, abundant is a good word. Yeah. In Dark Souls 2, compared to especially Dark Souls 3, like you had some hexes, some dark miracles, as it were.
Yeah.
But compared to DS2, like you couldn't do an early dark build. Really, in Dark Souls 3.
No,
it wasn't nearly as viable.
You
need Yuria and you need Carla. Because you can get those Dark Pyromancy tomes as early as you want, but you can't do anything with them until you get her. Like
that build variety. And like even
DS2 had a lot of build variety.
Cinder's mod lets you start off with like a dark class.
Cinder's mod was awesome. Was cool. I definitely want to try like Ascended mod and stuff like that. There's so many overhauled Dark Souls 3 mods out there for PC. And I gotta try them all, man. Yeah. Which I just started figuring out all the like free camera stuff and the cheat engine stuff.
More to come, folks.
Yes,
stick with us.
Yes, by all means. We've got that.
This podcast doesn't tell you enough about how new we are to this, then I don't know how to help you.
Not only how new we are to this, but how like nerdily obsessed we are with the crap that we play on these overpriced hunks of plastic that sit in our living rooms. Well, I love them.
Yeah, we're just like you if you're watching.
We're regular people. Yeah. Like we're just Sunbros. But if you are not opposed, I would love to get into some Bloodborne ROM talk.
Oh, ROM.
Yes.
My nightmare.
Yes. So we are finishing up. What will be our bi-weekly game news segment, which, if you hadn't noticed, has been all Elden Ring this time around, because that's what we're all the most hyped about. That's what everybody in this fandom wants to hear about is Elden Ring. And now we're gonna get to the Dark Souls Quick Lore series, the FromSoft Quick Lore.
That's fun.
Which, if you watch our channel at all, you know that I have just one Shadow of the Colossus lore video up at this point.
You did great on that, by
the way. Check that out,
really
please. If you're a fan of the game, check it out. That's another game that follows a very...
You got like all like sexy
very
in it.
Dark Souls-esque.
You're like the Shadow
of
the Colossus.
Shadow of the Colossus.
Check it out. It is. I thought it was very well
honestly done. Like I hate most of my voiceover work, and I did like bearably on that one.
I thought you did a good job.
It was definitely the game that got me into that kind of storytelling.
Yeah.
Where it's very minimalist on the surface, but it makes you work. It makes you dig if you really want to uncover any of the story about it. So yes, please check that video out. Link up above.
Now you gotta put one in there.
Yeah,
How fun is that?
I'll worry about that.
Oh no, it's actually over here.
No, stop! You're making me look a fool.
Sorry.
But yeah, very minimalist storytelling. Very like you gotta try if you want to understand it. So let's talk Rom.
I was wondering.
I don't have enough dedicated Wham to talk about Wham and how much dedicated Wham we need for server. Rom. Let's talk Rom. I cannot wait to go down this rabbit hole with you, dude. Okay. So tell me, just like, give me a baseline. Tell me what you know about Rom.
What I know about Rom? I know Rom sucks, dude. Of all the bosses in...
You hate Rom so much, dude.
He's probably my least favorite, although... Most of the times I fought him have been in like new game plus a billion.
Yeah, because you insist on like continuing the same character. So I'll be on like a new game character like level 30. And you'll be like, bro, can you help me with Rom on new game plus. Like...
So I know Rom sucks. I know he is able to spawn little spiders, and he can shoot crystals out of the air. I know he lives in the bottom of a lake at Bergenworth, and I know that he has the face of like the amygdala, and that's amygdala.
Okay,
whatever. So that's kind of what I know.
So
he's got little legs.
You actually got into a couple things there. We'll go through what we know for sure about Rom first. As far as in-game descriptions go, we know a couple things. One, I'm pretty sure Rom is female. I can't recall the specific... Is it
whenever it flips over on its back and starts like shaking the ground? That's when you were able to tell?
That'll get us into something else.
Okay.
But I feel like Rom is referenced as female. Anyways.
Lisa.
Oh, come on.
You're tearing me apart. Lisa.
You're betraying me.
So, Denny, tell me about Rom a little bit.
I tell you about Rom, but everybody betray me. Anyways, Rom, the Bergenworth spider, we are told is used to conceal all manner of rituals.
Conceal them?
Yes.
So, like...
That's about all the more we get.
Are we talking about, like, going down into the Chalice dungeons? Like... where you get like ritual blood. You have to perform a ritual to go down into the Chalice dungeons, right? You got to have all kinds of different...
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So he conceals it then.
But I don't even want to get into Chalice dungeons, because whenever you start bringing Chalice dungeons into it all, everything gets a whole lot more confusing. For a myriad of reasons.
Well, let's check it out. We gotta ask the right
This
questions.
is the Quick Lore series, okay?
Oh, okay.
They gotta subscribe if they want to watch the deep dives, alright?
You gotta join our OnlyFans.
Yeah, man. Yeah, dude, I'm gonna be wearing, call me IMB. I'm gonna be wearing a Sunbro helmet and like a real tight tank top showing off my boobs. My sweet boobage.
As seen here.
Sunbros. This guy's got 2 thumbs and some sweet boobs. But, so Rom conceals all manner of rituals, as it were. But, we are absolutely never told what kind of rituals Rom is concealing. And although Rom is mentioned as the Bergenworth spider, it's not really clear if it's because she was somebody who was present in Bergenworth beforehand, or if that's just where Rom was hidden. Because there's a deep lake there at Bergenworth, and we're told that great bodies of water are a bulwark to sleep, which nightmares are the realms of great ones. So the big question becomes, is Rom... Because whenever we kill Rom, we see the blood moon, we see the world for what it is, we're transported to Yahar Ghul, right?
Oh,
and we
shoot,
see
bro.
all
he
of
was
the...
concealing...
We see the amygdala there.
A ritual that was covering...
Right, so the question
is...
was Rom separating the humans and the Great Ones?
No.
to stop
I don't know.
humans from contacting great ones, or to stop great ones from contacting humanity. Because if we look into if we look into like Bergenworth, with Master Willem being their head, they were into insight, and that was their primary way of learning.
Adding eyes to their brains and stuff.
Basically, yeah. And if we look at Rom, she has a very similar head to the amygdala, which has a whole bunch of eyes lined on its head. Now, the curious thing... I
hate the way that looks, too. It's like all pitted.
Oh, it's grotesque, dude. It's
nasty.
grotesque.
I don't like pitted.
The curious thing about Rom, as opposed to, say, the amygdala are considered in-game as full Great Ones. Rom is not. Because, and the main differentiation there comes from...
Why can't Rom be a Great One?
Because she's a kin Great One. She started as human. Great Ones were born Great Ones and have always been Great Ones.
Don't you become a Great One if you finish that ending? You become
There's speculation.
Okay.
There's speculation there, because look at somebody like Rom, who ascended from humanity to being a kin of the Great One and having a lot of similar aspects to them.
Maybe Rom wasn't a pale blood like
as far as the Great Ones are concerned, Rom was not one of them. Same with Ebrietis, who was a human, possibly a member of the choir. I don't know about that for sure. Don't quote me.
One thing we do know for sure, Ebrietis.
But she's
hot,
a kin,
bro.
Smoking slug body, bro. Slug body.
Dude. Oh my god.
But one of the main distinctions between, at least in the game files, between kin and actual Great Ones, number one, if you use kin hunter gems against them, they actually do additional damage. Number two is that all kin, not necessarily all Great Ones, but all kin are weak to bolt damage. And they also bleed a pale, like kind of yellowy white substance whenever you hit them. As I'm sure you've probably noticed whenever you're hitting Rom in the body, which, weird fun fact, Rom is actually more vulnerable to body shots than headshots.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah.
You can fist him in the face for an hour and he just
it's just like a carapace.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a solid carapace,
like
a chitinous shell, essentially, yeah. Because if we're looking at them as like spider-like beings, which looking at Rom as a spider may almost come from the children of Rom, the little spiders that appear in the boss fight, which are not technically listed as kin in the guide for the game, the official guide for the game, but they do bleed the pale yellowy white substance, one, and they take additional damage from bolt and kin hunter gems.
Whoa, wait a minute. I just had something.
Okay.
So when you start the game, they call you a pale blood, but then they do a blood administration. And then they give you some.
Do they call you a pale blood?
Yeah.
I don't know that they call you.
I just started the game again last night. He
called
me a pale blood.
All right, fair.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, and there's a fellow. I'm pretty sure his YouTube name is The Last Protagonist. He's got a series called Fear the Old Lore, which is all about mistranslations between the English and Japanese versions of the game, because he actually reads and speaks Japanese.
Huh.
And so he reads the original text and differentiates between what's in there and how it was translated, whether it be a localization or whether he can't figure out why they translated it the way that they did.
How funny would it be?
And he compares it against different languages, too, is the thing. Like, I'm pretty sure he knows Korean and stuff as well, because he compares the English translations versus the Korean translations and Japanese translations a lot.
How funny would it be if Miyazaki, he sits down on his computer and he's just like, pulls up YouTube, starts watching a Vadi video, and he's just like, no, that's not what we said at all. Like, don't you know how to speak Japanese?
Or maybe he's like, oh, that's way better than what I said. I'm gonna go with that, because
that's what I meant,
dude. If I was like a writer for a movie, you know, if I wrote the storyboard for a game or something like that, and the fan base came up with something better, I'd just be like, yeah, you guys figured it out.
Caught me.
You know, like, look at Final Fantasy VIII. Like, there's all these theories.
That's the whole plan from the beginning.
There's all these theories.
If we don't write a story, but they'll
have to do it, man, themselves, and they'll come up with all the really good stuff on their own. Don't worry about it. Like, there's a couple crackheads out there.
It's like process of elimination. The best ones will live on, and then we'll say, like, you got us. That was what we were thinking.
Guess you guys figured it out. Oh, shoot.
There's a little more there. Man. Keep digging.
But so what I would like to get into is
Rom was a human.
Rom was a human.
Huh. That's weird.
Because he's a human she was a human that ascended to Great One status. So what I want to question, and if you guys want a deep dive lore video on Rom, please mention so in the comments. Go ahead, like and subscribe. Blah blah blah. Touch the button. Touch the bell. It's all up over here, whatever. Let us know. Anytime we do a quick lore video or a little segment in our podcast, please let us know if you want us to do a deep dive on it, because I am more than happy to do so. All right. So first I want to get into you with the theory that I find more interesting, but I don't necessarily think is the case based off of the information that we have in game. And that would be that Rom, before he or she, presumably she, ascended, that they were a child or a baby. And we'll go ahead and we'll put this screenshot up right here in the Netherverse that Miyazaki had mentioned during an interview. Somebody asked him, and he mentioned that babies are very, very special. Because as we know, all great ones they appreciate surrogates. They need a surrogate to carry on their essence.
Marco.
And so these very special babies were often sacrificed or offered to great ones who, again, we are told are very compassionate beings towards the plights of the people who offer them things.
It's nice of them.
Yeah, sometimes.
It's really kind.
Yeah. That's his whole own thing. But because we gain one of the 1/3 of an umbilical cord whenever we kill Rom. And so the question is Rom a child? Because when we look at the way that Rom behaves in battle, and even the way that Rom is described is vacuous, dumb. In Japanese, it's Rom the idiotic spider, is a more literal translation.
I second that. Screw Rom.
Stupid frickin' spider.
Stupid, dude. He's stupid.
But so the question is, was Rom vacuous beforehand? Was she like a child? Because when Rom melee attacks, it's more of like a wild flailing attack. Just like flopping around back and forth trying to throw a tantrum and get at you.
Well, I mean, you got them in the line.
The arcane attacks or the AoE attacks, it's just somebody like rolling over on their back and being like, you know, and like throwing a fit as much as anything. And we know that the School of Mensis, granted they were far broken off from Byrgenwerth at that point, but the School of Mensis, who more took after the mentality of Byrgenwerth than the Healing Church, who they were like founded as a subsect of. Here's where I was going. They had a propensity to kidnap children, or kidnap people, whoever they thought they could, to experiment on and further their own goals. And as we know, the School of Mensis was all about making contact with the Great Ones and finding their way into the Nightmare. So it could have been that they kidnapped a child and gave them this 1/3 of an umbilical cord, possibly in the womb.
It's not very noble, is it?
Well, no, but they're not worried about nobility. You know, nobility.
Well, no.
Nobility is second nature whenever you're trying to like become God. You know, like who's to define nobility except for whatever Great One is presiding over this realm that you live inside of. That's the mentality of the School of Mensis.
I feel like that joke went just.
Hey, I don't have time for jokes. I'm talking about Bloodborne lore, okay? Bloodborne lore is just like the weirdest stuff, and there's no room for humor in here. I don't know what to tell you. It's weird. It's just weird. But so that's one question that I have. Was Rom a child? I don't necessarily think that's the case.
I was going to ask you what child, if you thought so. Or
well, it could just be a random child.
Okay.
Whatever child the School of Mensis abducted, because Bergenworth had a little more pride in themselves than to do stuff like that, than to abduct random people
Willem's baby.
Off the streets.
And that's why he's rocking in that chair above the...
Well, and we're kind of getting into the other theory there.
Okay.
Because one theory is that the School of Mensis created
Sipping
Rom
his coffee.
in order to commune with the Great Ones. And the other main theory is that Willem and Bergenworth created Rom, more or less, that Rom was a previous student of Bergenworth who ascended to the level of Great One in order to separate humanity from the Great Ones. So did Rom ascend in order to separate Great Ones from humanity, or humanity from Great Ones? It's impossible for us to tell.
Like on behalf of one or the other is basically what you're saying.
Or to inhibit one or the other.
Okay.
I guess would be the other way of looking at it, because it gets really confusing when you look at the fact that, like, when you talk to Willem, he points you to the lake, which we know, again, great bodies of water are bulwarks to sleep. So he's like, hey, this Great One is hiding down here. So is that him telling us that to prevent us from killing Rom? And ending whatever rituals, whatever hidden rituals Rom is about? Or is that to tell us, hey, this thing is down there, and you need to kill it in order to stop whatever rituals it's presiding over? Because Willem wanted to make contact with the Great Ones. That's why he was lining himself with eyes. The same way that Rom might have, but we're also told through Mikolash dialogue that Kos is the one who granted Rom these eyes. And that's the other main theory, is that Rom wasn't always vacuous. Rom was a Bergenworth scholar who, whenever Kos imparted this knowledge of the Great Ones onto Rom, did it burn out his or her brain and they became vacuous. Because the human brain was not capable of handling the knowledge of the Great Ones as it was imparted to it. So that's another part of the question. Was Rom vacuous beforehand, or was Rom made vacuous by their ascension to the level of Great One? Never mind, let's look at the fact that Rom is presented as almost like a grub, like a larva.
Totally.
Akin. And Ebrietas, who is also akin, has some slightly like wing and butterfly-like features.
Hot, yeah.
So is it possible then that mentally, yeah, dude, smoking.
Sexy.
Is it possible that mentally Rom was infantile compared to Ebrietas, and that's why they didn't reach an evolved form the way Ebrietas did? Or does it start that way and they become that form later on in their ascension?
She got like thrown into a cave, and he like got thrown into a lake.
Well, and that's,
you know what I mean.
If we look at the cave that Ebrietas is found in, if you approach the Altar of Despair, which, if you are participating in the Vile Blood quest line and the Alfred quest line, after Alfred kills the Vile Blood Queen, if you approach the Altar of Despair in the Ebrietas boss room, that's actually where you revive her at. And there's also, if you look at the altar, there is a corpse of a Rom-like being on the backside of the altar. Yeah, there's another spider-like being like backside of that altar. And so it makes you question, like, it brings up so many questions. It's like, is Rom already dead? And this is the corpse that we're seeing, and Rom exists underneath this lake in its non-corporeal form, because we know that if a Great One dies, it doesn't necessarily die. So is this the actual corpse of Rom, or is it another corpse of a very similar kin-like being?
How exactly does something become a Great One? Is there like a 7-step program?
Well, the way, yeah, kind of. Because if we look at the way that the evolutionary process, as it were, of people trying to become great ones, they always gathered these umbilical cords of great ones.
Oh.
Let's go even back to the earliest examples of it. The fishing hamlet.
Another great place to visit if you're ever just like
lore heavy,
looking for a place to relax.
So lore heavy,
yeah.
Like oh my gosh, so much going on there.
Nice place to just kind of like.
But one of the things that
back.
we know, some of the things that we know about the fishing hamlet are that the hunters were there performing horrible experiments.
No,
I know, right,
dude?
Yeah, who would have thought?
What about them two little dudes in the well? You know what I'm talking? They circle around.
They were happy, man. Those big old fish whale dudes, they were happy. They haven't killed us more than any boss in the game. No way.
Yeah. You can tell, like, they really, like, made the best.
They're all about life and love,
yeah.
man. They listen to the Beatles, like,
it's kind of
John Lennon especially.
Just like,
that's why they beat their wives.
Really?
But we know that because the hunters, they were doing something here.
Are we talking about the fish hamlet still?
Mm-hmm.
Dang, bro, this is some
it would have caused
mm-hmm.
It would have caused Cost to die, and for Cost to leave an orphan behind.
Some say cause him.
Indeed, they do.
Okay, just checking. I heard that somewhere.
They do, yeah. Some, Cost, as some say, cause them grant us eyes. This is what's did to the factory.
We need to redo the Michelin cheese video because it's so much easier than we made it. The only prerequisite is you have to have been to the Nightmare DLC before that fight. That's the only thing to get Black Sky Eye.
Oh, yeah.
just
Black Sky him to death until he disappears, and if he starts running into the room, smack him with that Tonitrus, bro! Tonitrus, bro!
I've never used that. The Threaded Cane, this playthrough has been a ton of fun.
Dude, freaking Tonitrus is so OP.
I think I want to do
especially as far as, like, you can...
based on the Threaded Cane being so fun as, like, a whip.
I was torn between doing the Beast Cutter and Boom Hammer. Run through.
I can't do a hammer though. I mean, I want to. Believe me. That's
You've done Kirk Hammer forever, dude.
Yeah, and it has held its weight too. That is like probably the best weapon in the game.
I would argue that.
And everybody would.
I would argue
everybody's got their own favorite.
That's the thing about Bloodborne. Any game you can make it work.
Yeah.
Like as long as you know how to use it, you can make it work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gosh, dude, I don't know what else. Umbilical cords. Who's to say they didn't harvest an umbilical cord from Kos, which would cause her potentially to die, and her to leave an orphan behind, which, because it's a great one, it's going to find a way to survive. Which is one of the only instances that we have, by the way, of a great one's child surviving at least long enough for us to kill it. Because the Orphan of Kos was alive. It didn't die in its infantile, slug stage.
Pissed.
Yeah, it was pissed. It was very much alive, and it was very much pissed. Yeah. And we killed it.
You know what's beautiful about the Orphan of Kos is that it's like a little like caterpillar, right? And after enough stress in its cocoon, you know, that's a stressful time, but at the end, it breaks out with these beautiful wings. And then it flies around and just murders.
Murder! Murder fly! They are murder flies! They commit murder! Fear the monarch.
I mean, it sounds to me like, you know, if I were to take a stab at it, I think that Rom... I mean, I think Rom had something to do with, like, a prologue to this game, like a prequel. You know what I'm saying?
In a sense, yeah. Because if we look at the state that we start in, because
there
are three stages.
Dungeons.
There are three stages to Bloodborne. There's the initial phase. There's the full night phase after you kill Vicar Amelia, that the world shifts to like full moon night, and then after you kill Rom, it switches to like the blood moon. All of the illusions are dispelled, and the nightmares are able to come into full contact with the real world at that point. And so that's more or less the will of certain great ones, especially the moon presence, because the great ones don't ally with each other. They're all competitive because they all see all of creation as their dominion. They see mortals as their pawns to do with as they will, and anybody who's going to compete with them is prey. So the moon presence probably would have like latched onto Gehrman's idea of like, let me kill a great one, let me kill a nightmare, like, and destroy the nightmare. Whereas it's hard to say. Koss might have just been sympathetic towards Rom, being like, hey, I want to, say, prevent the choir, this branch of the Healing Church, from making contact with you great ones because they're so desperate to make a surrogate.
Who do you think Rom is?
I think the most likely theory...
Do you not see this?
No.
They're all over, dude. I've been grabbing at them like this whole time.
I live with a cat.
Oh, that's probably what it is.
I live with a cat, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have cataract surgery later in my life, so...
Cataract.
But as much as I would like to think it would be really cool if Rom was a kidnapped child by the School of Mensis...
Really?
Yeah, dude, that would be neat as Like, what do I care? It's a video game. It's based off of Lovecraft, and Lovecraft is just F, dude. If you get into all the Lovecraftian references in this game, you're never gonna stop.
But you don't think that's the case?
No, I don't think that Rom was a kidnapped child. I think that Rom was a previous scholar of Bergenworth who took it upon themselves to try to ascend to being a great one by not only lining their brain with eyes, but also consuming this 1/3 of an umbilical cord. But as we've learned, 1 or even 2/3 of an umbilical cord is not enough. You need at least 3, which if you gather them in game, you're able to confront the moon presence as an equal, meaning that you've achieved the status of something that mentally cannot be overpowered by the moon presence, which, as far as I'm concerned, the only thing that cannot be overpowered mentally by a great one is a great one. And that's why you become like this weird slug baby after that.
Interesting.
Because you've achieved this status. Everybody else had only reached like the first stage of the more or less evolutionary process of becoming a great one.
Dude.
They had only consumed a small part of the umbilical cord. But you need a full umbilical cord of a great one to make yourself a proper surrogate. Otherwise, you won't become truly a great one. I think we, at the end of the proper ending of Bloodborne, are the first human to ascend fully to the level of great one. I don't think we're akin. I think we are a great one. Because anything else that we kill, we only get 1/3 of the umbilical cord from it. There are also a total of 4 1/3 of umbilical cords that can be acquired within the game. And only 3 of them are necessary to confront the Great One. Do your fractions, bro. Do your fractions, bro. So I think it's that any of the previous attempts didn't have the necessary reception of nutrients, more or less, for lack of a better term, from a great one to become a proper great one. Once we build a full umbilical cord, we are, from like the cosmos, from a spiritual, conceptual level, we are able to receive the fullness of a great one. Something that Rom did not do, something that Yosefka did not do, something that nobody else in the series has done until we came along.
You know what our reward
during
was?
We became a slug.
We became a little slug.
You know what? If the doll breastfed us after that.
Oh, frick yeah. Like, let's do it.
Praise the sun. Ya boy.
All right.
That's all it's about is feet and beers.
Oh my
Feet
God.
and beers.
So, I mean,
beans.
I dig it, dude. That's some sweet lore. It's so amazing that a game can provoke so much thought.
We've been going on forever about nonsense.
When
it comes to the lore of this game.
Can I throw out my theory?
Go for it.
So I'm still.
It's wrong.
I have yet to put together, all the links, but I'm working on it, and it'll come out, as it does. Gearman got bored up in that house. He started playing with the doll. The doll conceived and had a little baby. They wanted to get rid of that baby, so they threw it in a lake.
Because they didn't have a coat hanger.
They didn't have anything. They didn't have anything. They were broke. It was hard times. And
Beasts all over the shop. I mean...
And then you have Rom. Now, I can't prove it, but I think that the links are there. I just
Can we prove anything?
Together.
Can we prove anything with Bloodborne or with Dark Souls? I mean, realistically, no. No, we cannot.
No, but thank you. That was very insightful. It's fun to dive into.
It's so fun, dude. And I know the lore of a lot of these games is more so my thing than your thing.
Oh, I love hearing about it. I love that you put up with me just like throwing out crazy stuff.
Being ignorant as about the whole thing. You're just like, what if Patches was a great one? I'll give about Patches. Hyena. Unbreakable.
You might have something there. Patches was a spider in Bloodborne. Spiders have 8 legs.
I'm not even trying to get into this. I'm not even trying to get into this because there's a whole rabbit hole that we can go down of Patches being a failed attempt at being a great one surrogate and trying. Let's get to Dark Souls dad jokes.
Let's do it. Dark Souls dad jokes.
They're gonna be bad. That's the point. They're dad jokes.
How about we get some viewer submissions, too?
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what we want. If you guys have funny Dark Souls dad jokes, obviously we're gonna vet them. But whatever Dark Souls dad jokes you guys have, if they're Dark Souls jokes and they're bad, just freaking bad. Yeah, they don't even have to be funny because you're gonna learn from some of these that these are not even funny. Please send them to us, and we're gonna use the ones that we like the most. So, I would like to send you a Dark Souls dad joke that I came up with.
Okay.
And I would like you to read it.
Yeah.
In real time. Please go for it.
What is Master Willem's favorite fast food restaurant?
What?
Burger and Worth.
Because there's burgers. It's got burger in it, and then it's like Bergenworth. He's a Bergenworth scholar. He was the head of the College of Bergenworth, and he likes burgers.
Burger and Worth.
Burger and Worth.
Man.
I'm going to read you one now.
Dollar menu.
I'm going to read you one. Guy. You ready?
Yeah.
What do you and a celestial Bloodborne boss have in common?
I don't know.
You're both living failures.
Oh! Dang!
Okay, I'm gonna send you another one.
That was good. You really burned me with that one.
You gotta.
I don't think we can be friends anymore.
Oh, that's okay. We can be friends after this next one.
What do you do with a blood drunk hunter?
What?
Probably just kill him, I guess. What the frick?
You get the eye of a blood drunk hunter before you go into the DLC.
Oh.
Wait, if you find a blood drunk hunter, what do? He's like Gascoigne. You just kill him. You just kill him. Oh, Danny. Oh, you're so funny.
Oh, Danny. You tell them jokes.
You turn me apart.
Turn me apart. I did it.
Did you hear about how many girls Gwen hooked up with online?
No, I didn't.
I hear they started calling him Gwen, Lord of Tinder.
Oh!
Because he hooks up with all them.
That's great.
All them who bags,
the Lord
dude.
of Tinder.
Brilliant.
Well,
brilliant.
It's appropriate.
Oh, okay. Don't worry. I got another one to send you. I got another one.
Okay. Let's see what we got here. Oh, here, this just in. What did Rom say when he asked how many eyes she had?
What?
Oh, sorry. Let me rephrase that because I read it weird. What did Rom say when asked how many eyes she had?
What did she say?
I don't know. I can't count that high because I'm stupid.
Because Rom is vacuous. Whether we adhere to the theory that Rom was a child who didn't know anything beforehand, Rom is vacuous and stupid and can't count that high, or whether we adhere to the theory that Rom was a Bergensworth scholar whose brain got burned out by the Great One Cause.
It's fine.
They're also stupid and can't count that high.
It's
really funny. Okay. Okay, I got one for you.
All right.
What did Artorias say when he walked into the chasm of the abyss?
What did he say? I don't know.
Man, it's dark in here.
Oh!
Because Manus is the father of the abyss. Manus made the abyss, so he's the reason it was dark in there.
Manus is his name.
And Manus is his name.
Man is.
And he's like, man, it's dark in here, man.
It's like a play on words.
Yeah, dude, it's like a pun,
funny.
dude.
Okay.
Oh, dude, that's so funny, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny, bro.
Dang.
So funny,
you know,
bro.
the comment sections are going to be like 50 times fat fun.
Lit, bro. They're going to be lit, bro. Comment section is going to be lit, fam.
I've had a lot of fun on the podcast today.
This has been so impossibly fun. Like, I expected us to have fun on this podcast, and it has exceeded my expectations in every way. Thank you. Thank you so much for everybody who has continued viewing to this point. I don't know what possessed you to make you keep listening.
Oh, you made it, baby. You made it.
Yes, freaking Sunbros, baby. I just thank you. Thank you for helping us reach 500 subs.
Yeah.
And for your not only previous support, but your continued support. We are so thankful that we were able to take something that we enjoy and make it into something that you guys enjoy as well, even if it's just a very limited community. Thank you.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed the Soul Dupe glitch solely because of the Pokemon or the Darkemon song, that we have more Dark Souls songs, and they are
please
funny.
please subscribe, because we absolutely have more Dark Souls comedy videos coming up. We don't want you guys to just think that we are a podcast. We don't want you to just think
the very best.
Dark Souls, you freaking be smash. Is my car. Thank you for watching this video.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for hanging with us through our absurd podcast. And please keep an eye out for more of these in the future. Keep an eye out for more deep lore dives, for more guide videos, for more comedy music videos. Sunn Bros are not a one-dimensional channel. Okay? We're going to come at you with everything you can imagine.
Yeah, I think
and
so.
Then
honestly.
some. And then some. We're just a couple normal dudes who play Dark Souls and like to have fun.
Pretty sure there's a video on our channel where you talk about your dad's like.
Well, okay, but to be fair, it's like the first time you get invaded by a dude who has a full-on Chicago blood-tinged build.
Oh, that's
and you
brutal.
get one-shotted by his charged R2 attack. Or like a dude who's using the stake driver. And you're like, oh, he's just using the stake driver. He can't do anything. And then he one-shot murders you out of nowhere. Sunn Bros. That's what we do. We praise the sun.
Yeah, praise the brothers.
We worship the sun. make contact. Okay? Hulk Hogan.
Hey, have
brother.
a blessed rest of the day. Thank you all for watching the podcast.
Thank you so much. Y'all have a great rest of your day, night, morning, whatever. It doesn't matter. Sunn Bros, we're here to help you no matter what time of the day it is. Sunn Bros!
Sunbro!
Praise the sun!